Bye, Miss Thomas.
Hi, Dwayne.
Bye, Miss Thomas. Hey.
Remember when sitcoms could be funny and quietly groundbreaking at the same time? Well, What's Happening hit ABC in 1976 and gave us something TV wasn't showing much of. Three black teenagers in Watts just trying to make it through school, stay out of trouble, and get to Rob's place before the fries got cold. Raj was the responsible one, always trying to keep it together. Dwayne was mellow, polite, and a little goofy. And Rerun? Well, Rerun danced like nobody was watching and flunked like nobody was grading. The show only ran for 3 seasons, but it became a cultural touchstone, thanks to its charm, chemistry, and characters who felt real even when the situations didn't. Today, we're counting down 15 weird facts about What's Happening. Behind the catchphrases and canned laughter was a show full of strange choices, backstage shakeups, and decisions that'll have you saying, wait, they did what now? Before we jump in, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm show these retro TV deep dives to more people who still remember these shows. Now, let's get into the countdown with number 15. The opening credits lied about transportation. Nothing ruins TV magic quite like a glaring continuity error, and What's Happening served up a doozy for 2 whole seasons. The opening credits cheerfully showed 2 cars parked in the Thomas family driveway. Meanwhile, the actual show constantly reminded us that this family definitely did not own a car. Raj, Rerun, and Dwayne walked or rode the bus everywhere. They even hitchhiked in the same opening credits. The family's lack of transportation was practically a running gag, yet there they were in the opening credits, apparently living their best automotive lives. For 2 seasons, fans were left scratching their heads. Were those the neighbors' cars? Maybe they were just for show, like those fake books people put on shelves. The phantom cars finally vanished when the credits got revamped after Mabel King left and Shirley Hemphill became more prominent.
Oh, Shirley, nothing's changed, honest. Don and I are getting married soon as he gets here.
Oh? Did his half of the bus get stuck in traffic?
Whether anyone actually noticed the car continuity problem or if it just got fixed by accident, well, that's lost to TV history. Either way, it took a major cast shakeup to solve a mystery that was staring viewers in the face every single episode. Number 14, Doobie or Not Doobie, a classic episode. Okay, here's a What's Happening moment that was pure 70s gold. When the Doobie Brothers showed up for a 2-part episode about the evils of bootlegging concerts, in the 2-part season 2 episode Doobie or Not Doobie, Raj, Rerun, and Dwayne were desperate to see their favorite band in concert. But here's where it got weird and kind of sweet. The Doobie Brothers weren't just random rock stars in this story. They were supposedly Jefferson High alumni returning to their old Watts High School to play a charity concert. Talk about keeping it local. Patrick Simmons even claimed he remembered Rerun from one of his classes, which was hilarious considering Rerun was still in high school at the time.
I remember you from Miss Phillips' class.
Hey, that's right!
Hey, nice to see you came back for the concert.
Came back. I'm still here.
The villain was a shady character named Al Dunbar, played by Theodore Wilson. You know, Sweet Daddy Williams from Good Times. He approached Rerun with an offer that was definitely too good to be true.
That is too bad, because the Doobie Brothers are some beautiful guys. Woo!
You know them?
Man, me and the Doobies go back a long time.
Really?
Free tickets to the concert. All Rerun had to do was smuggle in a massive portable tape recorder in an oversized trench coat and bootleg the whole show. Of course, being Rerun, he thought this was a great idea until he found out the whole thing was illegal. But honestly, the bootlegging plot was just an excuse to get to the real magic. The Doobie Brothers, who actually performed in the 2nd episode, and it was absolutely incredible. We're talking full versions of hits like Blackwater and Taking It to the Streets on primetime TV. Not some quick snippet or fake lip syncing. We're talking actual complete performances by one of the biggest bands of the 1970s. We were in heaven. This was before MTV, before YouTube, and when seeing your favorite band on TV was a genuine event. And here was What's Happening, delivering a full concert experience right in our living rooms. Of course, Dunbar got caught and arrested in the end, and everyone went about their lives, but for 15 minutes, we got to watch the Doobie Brothers rock a high school gym on network television. and that was pure magic. Number 13, the set was not recycled from Sanford & Son, but other stuff was. A lot of fans swear the show reused the Sanford & Son set, minus all the junk. But according to Ernest Thomas, the sets were totally separate. Just another case of 1970s sitcom deja vu. Here's where things get genuinely wild though. Bud Yorkin, the producer behind Sanford & Son, split from Norman Lear and started his own company with writers Saul Turtletaub and Bernie Orenstein, who had produced Sanford & Son. Their two biggest hits, What's Happening and Carter Country. So while the physical sets were different, a lot of the same creative minds were behind both shows. There were also some fun casting crossovers that probably added to the confusion. Nathaniel Taylor, who played Rollo on Sanford & Son, showed up as Rerun's brother-in-law Ike in 2 episodes of What's Happening. Plus, Hal Williams, who played Officer Smitty on Sanford & Son.
What's so important in the paper you go out for it at dawn?
The want ad section, Smitty. I'm gonna get a job.
A job? You don't need no job. You already got a job.
Appeared on What's Happening as Sam Logan, a nasty landlord. When you add in the fact that both shows had similar staircases and kitchen doors and shared some of the same production DNA, it's no wonder fans thought they shared a set. And here's a fun bit of lore as well. Some fans swear that Raj's fictional home was on the exact same street in Watts as Fred and Lamont Sanford, making it feel like one big shared TV neighborhood. The truth is, What's Happening was part of a whole wave of shows that followed in Sanford & Son's footsteps, including Good Times, The Jeffersons, and Chico and the Man. All comedies focused on working-class families of color that emerged in the mid-70s. Same formula, same neighborhood, and in this case, some of the same behind-the-scenes talent, but definitely different sets. Ernest Thomas would know, he was there every day. Number 12, Haywood Nelson got the role after a surprising rejection. Before playing Dwayne, Haywood Nelson auditioned for Michael Evans on Good Times. He didn't land the part, but the show's co-creator, Eric Monti, remembered him. Nelson got another shot with What's Happening. The casting shuffle for Michael Evans was actually pretty wild. Haywood Nelson screen tested and was initially hired for the role, but then the producers had second thoughts. Ralph Carter, who was starring in the Broadway musical Raisin, had more experience performing in front of live audiences, so they bought out his contract and gave him the part instead. During the contract negotiations, a young Lawrence Fishburne, yes, that Lawrence Fishburne, temporarily filled in during rehearsals. All 3 actors, Carter, Nelson, and Fishburne, were close friends and remain close to this day. But here's where it gets interesting. Eric Monti was the connecting thread between both shows. Monti co-created Good Times with Norman Lear and later created What's Happening, which was based on his screenplay for Cooley High. When Monti left Lear's orbit to work with Bud Yorkin's new toy productions, he apparently still had Haywood Nelson on his radar. Nelson got his audition for What's Happening when Whitman Mayo recommended him. Mayo had worked with Nelson on the short-lived sitcom Grady, where Nelson played his grandson. So while Nelson missed out on Good Times, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because at 16, he was the only actual teenager among the 3 main characters on What's Happening, and his "hey, hey, hey" catchphrase made him arguably the first black teenage heartthrob on television.
Hey, hey, hey.
Sometimes the role you don't get leads you to the one you were meant to play all along. Number 11, Dwayne's off-screen romance. You know what's even more adorable than watching teenage romance play out on screen? When it happens behind the cameras too. And What's Happening delivered on that front when Haywood Nelson started dating Debbie Morgan, who played Diane on the show. Picture it for a minute, the whole set buzzing with that "did you hear about Haywood and Debbie?" energy.
Hi, Maria.
Hello, Diana. You say it's all right to come, no?
Oh, sure it is. Hey, Raj, look, I asked your mom if it's okay for me to invite a new friend.
While Dwayne was being all shy and sweet on camera, Nelson was navigating real-life romance with one of his co-stars. But here's where it gets perfectly, hilariously teenage. When Nelson later looked back on the relationship, he admitted he just wasn't mature enough to handle it. And his reasoning? He was more focused on a Porsche and driving around and taking road trips with the boys, when Morgan wanted more time and attention from him. Looking back, it's kind of sweet that these young actors were experiencing their own coming-of-age moments right alongside their characters. They weren't just playing teenagers dealing with crushes and relationships, they were actually living it, complete with awkward priorities and teenage tunnel vision. But don't worry about Debbie Morgan. She recovered just fine from teenage Haywood's questionable priorities. After What's Happening, she went on to have an incredible career, becoming a soap opera legend on All My Children, where she and her husband Jesse became the first African-American super couple in daytime TV. She even won a Daytime Emmy for it in 1989, plus she's been in everything from Eve's Bayou to Love and Basketball to Power. Number 10, Rerun was a legit locking legend. Okay, now here's something that'll blow your mind. Before Fred Berry became America's favorite dancing teenager in a red beret, he was already a legitimate street dance legend. We're talking about the Lockers. You know, the crew that basically introduced locking to the world and made it look effortless. This wasn't some weekend hobby, people. The Lockers were the real deal, showing up on Soul Train, Saturday Night Live, and pretty much every variety show that needed someone who could actually dance. These guys were pros. Fred Berry, who went by Mr. Penguin back then because, of course he did, was out there locking before most people even knew what to call it. So when you watched Rerun break it down on What's Happening, you weren't just seeing some actor who learned a few moves for the role. You were watching a guy who'd been perfecting his craft in actual dance battles and professional performances. Every dance scene was basically a masterclass disguised as comedy. And get this, the Lockers actually showed up on the show in Season 1's My 3 Tons. Picture it, Fred Berry's real dance crew appearing as fictional characters called the Rockets, pretending not to respect Rerun's talent when they totally did in real life. Talk about being a little bit meta. No wonder those moves became television gold. When you've got the real thing, it shows. Number 9, the show was based on a movie. What's Happening didn't just appear out of nowhere. It was actually inspired by Cooley High, the 1975 coming-of-age film that showed the grittier side of urban teenage life in 1960s Chicago.
Make sure you do, young man.
Oh, Tommy. What are you doing? What are you doing here, huh?
Eric Monty, who wrote Cooley High, created What's Happening as a TV adaptation of his original vision. And if you're wondering where you've seen some of those Cooley High faces before, the film starred Glynn Turman and Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, guys who went on to become familiar faces in A Different World and Welcome Back, Kotter. Oh, and Garrett Morris was also in the movie. You know, from SNL, The Jamie Foxx Show, Martin, and Two Broke Girls. So yeah, the movie had some serious talent. Translating that movie into primetime television required some serious content editing. Cooley High followed a group of high school friends in 1964 Chicago who got caught up with career criminals and falsely arrested for stealing a Cadillac. The story gets darker as it goes, ending with some pretty heavy consequences. We're talking about a film with drugs, crime, violence, and characters who didn't always get happy endings.
Hey, Cheech, you all right, man? Help! Help me, somebody! Help, please! Oh!
It was raw, authentic, and definitely not something you could air during family viewing hours without basically rewriting the whole thing. So, Monty and the producers took the heart of Cooley High, the friendship, the humor, the urban setting, and scrubbed out everything that would make network censors reach for the smelling salts. They also moved the action from 1960s Chicago to late 1970s Los Angeles. What emerged was a sanitized, but still authentic version that could make it onto ABC without causing mass fainting spells in Middle America. The transformation was so successful that most viewers had no idea they were watching the TV-friendly version of a much edgier story. Number 8, they tried a reboot. It was aight. You know what's harder than lightning striking once? Getting it to strike twice in exactly the same spot. That's what happened when What's Happening Now tried to recapture the magic in 1985, 6 years after the original ended. The setup seemed like a no-brainer. Bring back everyone as adults, show us what they're up to after high school, and watch the nostalgia money roll in. So here's where we found our gang. Raj got married to the social worker named Nadine, played by Anne Marie Johnson.
Just one thing I need to know.
What's that?
Does a straight beat a flush?
And they were raising a foster kid named Carolyn. Fun fact, Carolyn was played by Raina King. Yeah, Regina King's little sister. Raj became a writer and teamed up with Shirley to co-own Rob's Place. Dwayne was doing the whole computer programmer thing, and Rerun was selling used cars.
Hi, friends.
Swami Stubbs here for Kato's OK Used Cars.
Dee was off at college, but she did pop in from time to time. Oh, and Mama Thomas? She got remarried and moved to Phoenix. She never appeared in What's Happening Now. Look, the reboot lasted 3 seasons and 66 episodes in syndication. That's not exactly bombing, but it also never felt like the original either. Things got messy when Fred Berry bailed after season 1, but we'll get into that whole drama later. By season 3, they'd brought in Martin Lawrence, who was probably already too good for the show and just didn't know it yet. Here's the thing, catching lightning in a bottle once is hard enough. Trying to do it again 7 years later, well, that's like trying to remake your favorite childhood meal with whatever's left in the fridge. Turns out you can't microwave nostalgia and expect it to taste the same. Now, if you're digging these behind-the-scenes stories, hit that like button and subscribe for more retro TV deep dives. Trust me, we've got plenty more "wait, that really happened?" moments coming your way, so let's get back to the countdown. Number 7, the stars walked off the set. A lot. What's Happening looked like pure fun on screen, but behind the scenes, things got messy fast. We're talking walkouts, contract disputes, and enough drama to power a whole other sitcom. It started during season 2 when Fred Berry and Ernest Thomas realized they were the breakout stars but weren't getting paid like it. Both actors had had enough of low salaries and subpar working conditions, so they did what any fed-up employees would do. They walked off the set. Picture this, a sitcom trying to film episodes without its 2 main characters. Haywood Nelson had to step up and carry episode 6, If I'm Elected, all by himself, while the producers figured out how to get their stars back. On a side note, that's actually one of my least favorite episodes of the whole series. Anyway, the producers, led by Bud Yorkin, weren't messing around. To get Berry and Thomas back to work, they made them sign $25,000 promissory notes, basically a financial guarantee that they wouldn't pull another walkout. Nothing says we trust you like making someone put money on the line, right? But the drama wasn't over. Mabel King, who played the formidable Mabel Thomas, had her own issues with where the show was headed. She wanted more focus on the family dynamics and a stronger role for her character, but the producers had different ideas.
Daddy, you okay?
Roger! Bill! Are you all right?
I'm fine, Mabel. Just fine.
When they couldn't see eye to eye, King left after season 2. Her departure forced a major reshuffling. Shirley had to move in with Raj to help care for Dee. By season 3, Fred Berry was ready for round 2. This time, Ernest Thomas joined him again, and they threatened another strike over the same old issues, but the producers had reached their limit. Instead of negotiating, they made a nuclear decision: cancel the entire show. And just like that, What's Happening ended on April 28, 1979. The final episode aired, but it wasn't because they'd wrapped up storylines or reached a natural conclusion. It was because everyone involved had gotten tired of fighting. You'd think Fred Berry would have learned to pick his battles, but when What's Happening Now came around in 1985, history repeated itself. Once again, Berry found himself at odds with producers over the same old issues: money, respect, and working conditions. After just 1 season of the revival, he walked away again, leaving the sequel to continue without its most popular character. It was a pattern that defined Berry's relationship with the franchise. He'd helped make Rerun an icon, but he wasn't willing to compromise his principles just to keep the character alive. Whether you saw it as admirable stubbornness or self-destructive behavior, you had to respect the consistency. Looking back, these walkouts tell a bigger story about actors fighting for fair treatment in an industry that didn't always value them. That's a bigger industry conversation, but you get the idea. Sometimes the real drama happened after the camera stopped rolling. Number 6, Danielle Spencer's accident. Sometimes real life crashes into TV production in the most devastating ways, and What's Happening learned this lesson when Danielle Spencer, sweet, sassy Dee Thomas, was involved in a devastating car accident. This wasn't some minor fender bender that could be written off with a few episodes of Dee wearing a cast. We're talking about serious, life-threatening injuries that fatally injured her stepfather Tim Pelt as he attempted to shield her from harm. Spencer herself was critically injured and spent 3 weeks in a coma. The fact that she survived it all was nothing short of miraculous. When Spencer finally returned to the show, the production team had to completely rethink how they filmed her scenes. She was allowed to remain seated during many scenes to avoid physical strain, and they changed her hairstyle to help cover facial scars from the accident. This meant rewriting scripts and blocking scenes around her limitations. It was a testament to both her determination to continue working and the show's commitment to keeping her as part of the What's Happening family. The accident's impact would follow Spencer for decades. She was later diagnosed with spinal stenosis that doctors believe stemmed from her 1977 injuries, requiring additional surgeries and rehabilitation years later.
Well, yeah, in terms of the car accident, I didn't even realize it until I woke up from my coma, but they said that in him reaching over the steering wheel, he ruptured his spleen and his kidney, I believe, so.
Her own experience with finding the root causes of health problems would later influence her approach to veterinary medicine, where she focused on underlying causes rather than just treating symptoms. Sadly, in August of 2025, Dr. Danielle Spencer passed away from cancer at the age of 60. Thank you, Danielle, for the laughter, the memories, and the light that you brought to our screens. May you rest in peace. Number 5, from gospel to gangsta rap, Rerun's Wild 90s. Just when you thought Fred Berry's career trajectory couldn't get any weirder, the 90s happened. In 1991, the man who made What's Happening a household phrase decided to get spiritual and released a gospel album called Always on Time. Gospel Fred Berry was apparently a thing for exactly 3 years, because in 1994, Rerun showed up dancing in Snoop Dogg's Doggy Dog World video, proving that when it comes to staying relevant, you go where the music takes you. Picture this, you're watching MTV in 1994, Snoop's new video comes on, and suddenly, there's Rerun doing his thing in the middle of a dance floor. The cognitive dissonance alone probably caused a few remote control malfunctions. From praising the Lord to riding with the Dogfather in just 3 years, now that's what I would call range. Fred Berry understood something a lot of entertainers didn't. In the 90s, you either evolved or you got left behind. Sometimes that meant switching from gospel to gangsta rap faster than you could say what's happening. Berry kept hustling and reinventing himself right up until his death in 2003 at the age of 52. The man knew how to read the room, even when the room completely changed genres. Number 4, Fred Berry legally changed his name. You know you've really committed to a character when you literally make it part of your legal identity. That's exactly what Fred Berry did when he officially changed his middle name to Rerun, because apparently being known worldwide for dancing in a red beret wasn't enough, he needed it on his driver's license too. This wasn't some publicity stunt or temporary stage name situation. We're talking about actual legal paperwork, courthouse visits, and probably some very confused clerks wondering how to file a name change to Rerun. Why just play the character when you could literally become him?
Hi, I'm Fred Rerun Berry, and I'm excited about Hollywood.
The move showed just how much the role meant to Berry, but it also highlighted something kind of beautiful about the whole situation. Here was an actor who embraced his most famous character so completely that he wanted to carry a piece of it with him forever, even after the camera stopped rolling.
Rerun, how are you gonna lose weight?
Running away from Shirley when she tries to collect the $10.
And speaking of carrying it with him, Berry actually did keep wearing the red beret and suspenders in public appearances long after the show ended. While some actors tried to distance themselves from their defining roles, Berry leaned into it completely.
3 years later, Rerun ditched the gospel for a little gangsta rap, joining Snoop Dogg and friends in the video for Doggy Dog World. He then hit bottom again, but only on screen, playing a homeless guy in the short film Bum Runner.
Beat it! The only way you're gonna get rid of me is if you push me off a cliff!
I play a guy called Can Man, who we all play bums who are trying to steal things from each other. It's big comedy.
Almost 25 years later, Fred can't ditch Rerun's rump-shaking shadow.
I go out in public, people freak out. They ask me for autographs, ask me to dance. I still got it.
Number 3, 2 stars passed away the same year. In 1999, fans lost both Mabel King and Shirley Hemphill, 2 of the show's brightest lights. It was a devastating year for What's Happening fans and a painful reminder of how much these women brought to the series. Mabel King, who played the no-nonsense Mama Thomas with her signature "This is True" catchphrase, had kept busy after leaving What's Happening with guest spots on shows like Fantasy Island, The Jeffersons, and Amazing Stories, plus memorable movie roles including Steve Martin's mother in The Jerk and Grandma in Scrooged. But she'd been battling diabetes for years, and after suffering a stroke in 1990, her health declined significantly. She died on November 9, 1999 at the age of 66. Just a month later, on December 10th, Shirley Hemphill was found dead at her home in West Covina. She was only 52. She kept busy with guest spots on shows like Martin, the Wayans Brothers, and The Sinbad Show. She also appeared in the movie CB4 with Chris Rock. She was still performing stand-up comedy and acting right up until the end when she died of kidney failure. What made it even sadder was that these weren't just actresses playing parts. They were the heart of the show. Mama Thomas was the wise, tough matriarch who kept everyone in line, while Shirley was the friend who served up sass, advice, and burgers at Rob's place.
Shirley, this soda ain't sweet enough.
Oh? Yeah, it is.
Shirley had continued with the franchise through What's Happening Now, showing her dedication to the character. Both women had made their characters unforgettable, and losing them both in 1 year was devastating to fans. Number 2, the pilot episode You Never Saw. The funny thing about TV, sometimes the episode meant to introduce your favorite characters gets bumped before anyone sees it. That's exactly what happened with What's Happening. The original pilot, The Birthday Present, was shelved while The Runaway got the honor of kicking things off.
$8.48. Pay.
Happy birthday, Mama! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday, dear Mama! Happy birthday to you!
Why the switcheroo? Pure network strategy. Executives took one look at Fred Berry dancing as Rerun and said, yep, that's how we hook an audience. Because nothing screamed must-see TV in 1976 like a guy in a beret dancing like the rent was due. The Birthday Present was perfectly fine, it just didn't have Rerun signature moves front and center. And in a pre-Saturday Night Fever world, dance scenes were straight-up TV gold. So they rearranged history. The Runaway aired first, and Fred Berry's footwork had more pull than a Nielsen rating. If Rerun danced, America watched. Number 1, Rerun was originally supposed to be different. Now, here's the plot twist that makes everything else about What's Happening even more amazing. Rerun, the lovable, hefty dancing machine who became the show's breakout star, was originally written as a skinny white kid. Just think about that for a second. Instead of Fred Berry's infectious energy and genuine street dance skills, we might have gotten some generic teenage actor awkwardly attempting dance moves he learned in a weekend workshop, instead of...
What's happening?
Delivered with perfect comedic timing, we might have gotten, well, something significantly less memorable. Fred Berry didn't just get the part, he completely transformed it. His audition was so magnetic that the writers threw out their original concept and rebuilt the entire character around his personality, his dancing ability, and his natural charisma. So yeah, Rerun wasn't just cast. He was created in that moment, and thank God for that. And there you have it. 15 weird facts about the sitcom that gave us sass, soul, and a dance move for every disaster. Which fact surprised you the most, and which ones did we leave out? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more retro TV deep dives. We've got plenty more coming. Thanks for watching, and remember, this is Remember When.